Hi, and welcome to When Conspiracy Becomes Reality radio broadcast. I am your host this afternoon, Lisa Haven. Now, I have with me a very extra special guest this afternoon who I bring on from time to time, and that is Larry Nichols. Now, he's got lots of good information that we're going to be discussing because, to be quite frankly, everything is coming to a conclusion, to an end. We're going to talk about what needs to happen with Donald Trump, election fraud, what happened in Colorado, Louisiana, and how they're silencing the people's votes, and we need to have an outcry for what's going on. Not to mention the fact that the Federal Reserve is holding private meetings. We have a meeting with Obama and Biden, with Janet Yellen, Federal Reserve meeting, IMF meeting, so things are getting nuts out there. But before we delve into that, I have a quick song, What a Wonderful World, that Larry Nichols has sung. So let me play that, and then we'll dive into the report.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I say to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, bright blessed days and dark sacred nights. And I say to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbows pretty in the sky, so are the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I see babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I say to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow pretty in the sky, so are the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I see babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I say to myself, what a wonderful world. Ooh, I say to myself, what a wonderful world.
And that was Larry Nichols singing What a Wonderful World. So Larry, I know you've had a lot going on with medical and whatnot, and you haven't been feeling too good. So I want to say thank you first and foremost for coming on the broadcast to talk about some of the things that are happening with the election and the secret meetings. But thanks again.
Thank you for having me. Thanks for letting me come on.
Yeah, it's a blessing to hear, especially from the guy who has the playbook on what's going on with the election. So Larry, I'm just going to dive right in. I know that we kind of discussed some beforehand, but can you give us a rundown of what's going on in your opinion with the election? Because we know with Colorado, they're, pulling their own, making their own votes, so to speak. The RNC is overruling the people, not even allowing them to vote. What happened in Louisiana and all of that. Can you give us a quick rundown?
We talked about it before, and we've talked about it over and over and over. What has typically happened in elections, this is not the first election where it's quote unquote rigged. Typically, as we have stated before and before, what happens in the election, especially in primaries, he who has the most money always wins. All right? So the way the RNC has typically done it, they get 8 or 10 candidates to run starting early. All of the under-ballot candidates get out there and they fight it out, fight amongst each other, spend each other's money. Then they run out of money. And then it's the establishment candidate that ends up with money at the end, and he ends up getting the nomination. Now, what's different about this one is Donald Trump. Trump has his own money. He doesn't need the money. And it's thrown a cog in the wheel. And so because of that, what you're seeing for the first time, the American people are seeing right out in the open for the first time, how the RNC is picking who they want to be the candidate. And we, the people, have very little, if anything, to say about it. Now, they have made a mistake. They have. If they would have held off doing anything, Lisa, until the executive committee, rules committee, would meet 1 week or 6 days actually before the convention, there would be nothing anybody could do about this. Nothing. I assure you, right now, they do not plan for Donald Trump to be the nominee for the Republican Party. They're not going to let him unless we fight and unless we win. What they're doing that was a mistake is they went ahead in Louisiana, Colorado, and a few other states, and they have prematurely had those states hold back delegate votes that rightfully should go to Trump. And they've assigned them to Cruz. Now, everybody needs to know right up front, the RNC establishment, they're not going to let Cruz have it. All they're doing with Ted Cruz is using him to try to rob Trump of delegates. They believe if they can get Trump under 1,200 delegates and keep him there, they can go to convention and pick any candidate they want to run, even somebody that hadn't been in the race. That's what they're trying. But the mistake they made is too early. They went to some of these states and said, yank the delegates from Trump. Because of that, Donald Trump needs to go this weekend, next week at the latest. Hold a press conference, Lisa. Stand up in front of the media and everybody and say, now, here's what I'm going to do. And I'm doing it not for me, or certainly not just for me, but for all the people of this country. I have hired a cadre of attorneys, my attorneys, I am paying for, and I'm filing a theft by deception lawsuit against the RNC. Now, the RNC, all of them are going to laugh, but you see, the trick is, Trump doesn't need to worry about going to court and actually doing the case. It won't happen before the election. We know that. But he needs to announce within 3 weeks of the filing of the lawsuit, he plans to have his attorneys get Reince Priebus, Paul Ryan, Mitt Romney, Karl Rove, et al., and get them in and take their depositions and find out what the National Party has been doing in collusion with the state parties to rob the citizens that have voted in the Republican primary of the vote. You see, does it make sense, Lisa, for you to go vote? I mean, does it make sense at all? You would go vote when your state, if you all vote for Trump, the party's going to say, no, we're not going to let it be Trump, and they pick Cruz. Why would you even go vote?
I know. And that's the problem. And here I was I was talking to a dear friend of mine today, and people have no idea even because the mainstream lying media, and I'm just ticked. They aren't sharing this information. They're still acting as if even in with what happened with Colorado, they're still acting as if Cruz won the race. Hello,
Well,
it didn't
yeah.
happen, and people need to. No, they need to understand that. I mean, there's corruption on a major scale. This election, I think, is worse than I've ever seen it. I don't know.
Well,
Do
it
you
is
think?
worse than you've ever seen it. The problem is the American people don't know what to do because they're being told by the mainstream media and everybody else, well, guess what? And this is true. This is true. The Republican and Democratic parties, they're not government entities. They're private clubs. They can do anything they want to do, and they can. They can. But you cannot commit fraud. And you see all these people that go vote in these states that are told, if Trump wins, let's say a proportional state, there's two types of primaries, winner take all and proportional. Let's take a hypothetical proportional state, and the winner gets 60% of the vote, second place gets 40%. And let's say in this hypothetical state, Trump gets the win, so he should get 60% of the delegates. Cruz comes in second, he gets 40%. But what they're doing is they're saying, no, we're just going to give all of them to Cruz. Now, the people that voted understood when they went to vote, the rules of that election in that state were the winner gets 60% of the delegates, loser or the second place person gets 40% in the first pass on the floor of the convention. But by them going ahead and taking those delegate votes away from Trump prior to the first vote on the convention floor, that's where they have committed theft by deception. They stole your vote if you voted in that state. They stole your vote because they told you when you went to vote, if you vote for Trump and he wins, he'll get 60% of the delegates. That's what you were told. At least the first ballot in the convention. And when they violate that, that's where that's where Trump, that's where the people have a shot. That's where we have an opening to go in and save this country. And if we don't do it now, Lisa, I think you're seeing now why, when I've told you before, this will be the last election we're going to have. At least the last one when we're relevant. You see now, I wasn't exaggerating, was I?
No.
Look at it.
And when we aired that 3 or 4 weeks ago, maybe like a month ago, before what happened in Colorado, before some of the stuff that we're seeing on exuberated levels, it's insane. Now, Larry, before we go on, let's take a quick break from our sponsor, Get the Tea, and we'll be right back.
Hey folks, Life Change Tea here, reminding you that colds and flus suck. Feeling lousy sucks, and allergies really can be annoying. What if you could change that? What if you could drink something that changed the sick and tired scenario? Well, you can change how you feel with a little help from Life Change Tea. Life Change Tea is a drink you make, you control, and you drink. There are 8 organic herbs that blend together and give you what you need to fight the flus and colds of this world. Less sickness is more relief. Life Change Tea can help with high blood pressure, constipation, high cholesterol, and much, much more. Just by drinking the tea. Read the numerous testimonies at getthetea.com. If you're tired of feeling lousy, order right now at getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Or you can call us at 928-308-0408. That's 928-308-0408. If you've heard this commercial more than once and someone's trying to tell you something, it's time to get well. Getthetea.com.
All right, welcome back to When Conspiracy Becomes Reality radio broadcast. And Larry and I were talking about some of the things that are happening in the election. But before we get back into that, I just want to encourage you guys to, help fund Larry. He's got lots of medical issues, lots of things going on. And he does this, without any pay, just because he is, as we are, wanting to get the truth out. So check out his PayPal account. You can donate to him there. It's at Nichols with an S live at AOL.com. That's Nichols live at AOL.com. And for you YouTubers, I'll have it up on the screen. Now, Larry, can you continue on your train of thought? We were talking about, the fraud of the election, civil lawsuits that need to happen, or lawsuits that need to take place, and
Right.
all of that, and where you see it going.
Well, it's where it's going that's bad. You saw this week I think it was this week, where the head of the Federal Reserve, the vice president, and the president, they met in New York City. And as I was saying before the break, that's against national security. They're never supposed to all be at the same place at one time. In case something were to blow up that building, we'd lose our financial center plus command and control. Now, they did, but what was funny about that meeting, Lisa, is in the Reuters, not me, I'm not saying it, it's not me doing conspiracy stuff here, but in the article by Reuters talking about that meeting, Vice President Biden and Obama and the head of the Federal Reserve, they were talking about martial law. And they were talking in terms of martial law relative, I understand, to the collapse of our financial markets. Now, at the same time that was going on, you had the FDIC, Federal Depositors Insurance Corporation, and they had announced that the 5 major banks in this country, that they were not complying and meeting the standards that were supposed to be met so that they would be covered. Now, what that means is all of you think if you've got $100,000 in the bank, since the bank is FDIC insured, that your $100,000 of your money is covered. It's not. It's not. So now you've got that problem. Then you've got.
Now let me pause right there. Why would you say it's not covered? Because I had a lot of people ask that and say, well, it's okay because I'm FDI insured.
No, you're not. Well, you are if the FDIC has the money to cover your deposits. But the way the FDIC has the money to cover your deposits is a combination of the money they have on hand from premium payments paid by the banks and by the customers, as well as the solvency and liquidity of the banks themselves. So I'm telling you, just like when the savings and loans years ago, when the savings and loans all went down, there was a FLIC for the savings and loans, FSLIC. And all these savings and loans, people that had all their money in those insured for $100,000, guess what, Lisa? Most people got 1 to 2 cents on a dollar back after several years if they were lucky. So now you're sitting there with money in that bank thinking if it collapses or something happens, you're insured. No, you're not. No, you're not. Only if the bank is solvent and if the insurance premiums from the customers and the banks are sufficient enough to cover several of those big banks falling. Then you have the International Monetary Group. They're meeting. They're worried about a global collapse. You've got China coming in, and China is going to back the yen with gold, removing the dollar from the world standard. So you see, the economy is close to collapse. Now, what happens, and you've seen it in other countries, what happens when this all starts going down? First thing you see are the banks, the federal government will come in and they will nationalize the banks. Since the banks are insolvent, better know maybe it's too big to fail, right?
Yeah.
As long as the banks are so insolvent, the federal government will ride in and say, well, look, here's what we're going to do. We are going to nationalize the banks. What does that mean? That means you're going to take them over. Then
Now that's the government taking them over, you're saying, when they nationalize the banks, or like
takes them over.
like
The government will
only
take,
like a local government or like the federal government?
the federal government. The federal government's going to take them over.
Okay.
Now, they're also talking about negative interest. You know what negative interest means, Lisa? Now, a lot of people are thinking, oh boy, negative interest, that means my mortgage rate, they're going to pay me instead of me paying interest for it. No. You know what negative interest means?
Explain it. Explain it. I'd love to hear.
Negative, when the Federal Reserve goes to a negative interest standard, that means, folks, the banks are going to charge you a fee to keep your money. They're not going to pay you an interest for your money you have in the bank. You're going to pay them for keeping your money.
And that would be on our typical bank accounts as well, or just our mortgages?
Yeah, I'm talking about your bank account. Your bank account. No, your mortgage is not going to go to negative interest. You know, whatever
Right,
interest
obviously.
you're paying, you're going to pay it plus some. They're going to raise interest on your mortgages and loans. But I'm talking about the interest you earn or used to earn on your 401k, your CDs, and all that stuff. That's going to go to negative interest, which means you're going to pay them to keep your money. Then after that comes repatriation. That's when they repatriate the money. And repatriate the money means that's when the government, in the interest of meeting our debt, our global debt, they come in and they just literally take our money out of the bank and use it to pay the debt. That's coming. Now you know why Obama and all of them
Now, when
are
you
so worried.
They are worried, but here's the thing: if they come and when you talk about we go into the negative interest and then they repatriate the money and them coming to seize it, are you talking about they can come and seize just our typical bank accounts? What's in there? Are you talking
That's right.
401ks and IRAs,
right.
those things as well?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. If you don't believe they'll do it, ask Egypt, ask maybe not Egypt, Greece, ask those countries, ask if they don't do it. When a country gets in trouble and cannot meet its debt service, then the government has the power to do what it must do to fulfill its obligations. And then come in and take your money or mine or anybody's. Now, I'm not giving financial advice, so I'm not telling anybody to do this, that, or the other. I'm telling you, this is what is coming. This is why they're having all these big wig meetings. This is why there's all this talk. Then you've got, why did Obama go to Cuba? Why did he go and reestablish relationships with Cuba? We don't get anything from Cuba, right?
Heck no.
Back during the days of Nicaragua and all of the Contra stuff, there was something called the domino theory. What was known back then was Cuba, in that day, could have 250,000 Cuban soldiers, what they call black hats, in this country in 6 hours. Now remember, if they try to go to martial law, you have a problem bringing our military in to enforce martial law because of posse comitatus, right?
Right, but they've sideswiped that lots of times already.
They've sideswiped it already, but what you're talking about here in a situation like this, Obama has gotten rid of most all generals, obviously in the military, that would disavow an illegal order to go against the people of this country. But there still would be a tough time getting the American soldier to turn on us, the people. I believe what he did in Cuba was go down and make an arrangement that if he needed a force to put us in submission, he went down and negotiated and got it. And this stuff's coming. This is not somebody dreaming this stuff up. Read for yourself. Look for yourself.
So let me just add to what you're saying. So basically, I mean, if we were to put what you're saying in a kind of a blunt way and generalize it, but he went to Cuba to I guess they already have good relations because they're both communists, in my opinion. But he went there to get support militarily, like domestically speaking, in the event that we have some kind of civil uprising from an economic collapse that they plan on allowing some point soon. Something to that nature.
That sounds as well put as I've ever heard it. That was it.
And so
then you've got the problem back to the election. You've got Hillary. She wants to be king when this all collapses, and she'll invoke FEMA provisional government, which makes her king, basically martial law. You've got Obama. Well, now you've got him. He doesn't want to leave. So we've got all these people fighting to be in charge of this country. Everybody's vying and bidding for it and all of that. And all these rich multinational corporations buying politicians, paying for all this. We've got the best government money can buy. It's just we, the people, don't have money to buy it. And it's going to get worse.
Absolutely. And here's the thing. I know I did a few reports on my YouTube channel this weekend where I specifically went through the Federal Reserve. I went on their website and they held four of them. I've never seen that many back to back, and they were all emergency meetings. One on April 6th, one on April 11th, 12th, and then also on the 13th. Now, I haven't checked it today, so I don't know if they're holding any more. But this was at the same time. I know on April 11th, Janet Yellen met with President Obama and Joe Biden to discuss, and this is all financial discussion we're talking about, and that hasn't happened. I don't know, the last time they did it was in November sometime, and then that came the interest rate hike shortly thereafter. But here we have, or talk of it anyway, but here we have a situation with all these high top meetings, and not to mention the G20 summit that just took place, or it's taking this week in April. It took place this week, or is still taking place, I believe. It goes through to the 15th, goes through the 15th. And the G20 summit is at DC, and they're talking on financial topics. I mean, all of this stuff, Larry, I mean, what do you make of all these meetings just in a week? I mean, this is just the last week, and not to mention the IMF. They're having a meeting too, aren't they, or something?
Yes, next week.
Next week. This is a 2-week period. This is like setting my alarm bells off, because I'm here thinking, hey, the economy, they know something about to happen with the economy? Because here's the thing, they don't give us a warning. They never have. Did they give us a warning in 2006, 7, 8 when all that went down? Nope. Got nothing.
They're not going to, because they don't want us to make preparation. They don't want to panic. When it's panic time, they want to be in charge of everything. When it comes time to panic, they will have the keys to the purses. They'll have the keys to the money. They don't want us to have it. Lisa, you read about these special meetings with the Federal Reserve. You read about them yourself. That's not me making it up. You read about the Biden-Obama meeting with Yellen. You read about that yourself. If you read that, you also saw in there where they did discuss what? Martial law. Martial law. You're looking at the global meltdown, a global meltdown, and as it relates to this nation. Look, you saw just 2 days ago, or whenever it was, Russian MiG jets buzzed an American destroyer in the Baltic Sea. An act of war, an act of aggression. America would be well within its rights, maritime law, Geneva Convention law, when they got that close to shoot them out of the sky. We didn't. Why? I couldn't figure out why. What was Russia doing? What were they testing? Today, you got part of the answer. Did you see the answer today? Do you know what the answer, a little bit that leaked out today, that you had to be quick to pick up on it? And especially connected to what the hell Putin was up to by buzzing that destroyer? Let me tell you, we find out today that the F-18s that the Marine Corps uses are grounded. Because of budget cuts, our military have grounded the Marine Corps aircraft, goodly majority of them. Pilots are getting less than 4 hours flight time a month when they're supposed to minimally have 15 hours, Lisa. You cannot be proficient flying a jet at supersonic speeds flying less than 4 hours in a month. You can't be. It happens too fast. Everything's too quick.
So they're
Well,
covering.
guess
I mean,
what
they're
Putin
covering.
had to find out? Putin had to find out, is our military that depleted? And what he found out was, yes. That's why we couldn't retaliate against Russia. Why do you think we couldn't retaliate against Russia with some of the provocative things they've done in and around Syria? And I'm not talking about bombing the Syrians. I'm talking about the things they've done to our troops and our allied forces in the region. The provocative things they've done. Putin wants to know, do we really have an army anymore? And it's looking like we don't, isn't it?
It is, and they keep, they keep making it smaller and smaller and taking stuff away. But before we get back on that topic, let's take a quick break from my sponsor and partner, GetTheTea.com, and we'll be right back.
Hey folks, Life Change Tea here, reminding you that colds and flus suck. Feeling lousy sucks, and allergies really can be annoying. What if you could change that? What if you could drink something that changed the sick and tired scenario? Well, you can change how you feel with a little help from Life Change Tea. Life Change Tea is a drink you make, you control, and you drink. There are 8 organic herbs that blend together and give you what you need to fight the flus and colds of this world. Less sickness is more relief. Life Change Tea can help with high blood pressure, constipation, high cholesterol, and much, much more. Just by drinking the tea. Read the numerous testimonies at GetTheTea.com. If you're tired of feeling lousy, order right now at GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Or you can call us at 928-308-0408. That's 928-308-0408. If you've heard this commercial more than once and someone's trying to tell you something, it's time to get well. GetTheTea.com.
All right, and we are back. You are listening to When Conspiracy Becomes Reality, and I want to tell you guys real quick about a brand new website that Lynn Lees and I are kicking off. It's www.freedomnationnews.com. Make sure you go there, check it out. Lots of great info. Now, that said, Larry, you and I were speaking before the break there about, I guess, wars and what's going on. Here's the thing, Larry. I'm really, I have to say, I'm always concerned about America, but I'm more so today than I have been, especially with the meetings that they're holding and what's going on globally. The fact that Obama is in charge, and what's going on with the election. And I know you've been in countries that have collapsed. So where do we go? What can you say about all that?
Well, look, I've been in 4 that have collapsed, 2 of which I helped collapse, okay? I've seen it before. That's why I'm telling you what I'm telling you. I'm telling you what I've seen before. Not something I've dreamt up or dreamed up or some imagined thing I've had some kind of vision. It's nothing like that at all. This is what's coming. These things that are happening, nothing in government, Lisa, happens by accident. There's no accident. And don't think for 1 second that the government isn't using this election and this controversy in this election to do what? Get us looking someplace else. Mm-hmm. What are we all looking at? What is the news inundated with? Election. Now, do you think that there's any way after this election that we could go back to a traditional election process ever again for the presidency? Do you believe that this election, when it's finished, the rate it's going, we'll ever have a normal one again?
No, especially not if we allow what happened in Colorado. We allowed what happened in Louisiana. We're allowing it. And they're going to do it more next year. I mean, I feel like I'm in China, communist China.
They're not doing it more. They know this is it. This is it. They don't have to worry about the next election. This is it. This one is it. And they're using all this fervor over this election as what? Misdirection, cover. I wrote about it in my book in 1998, Genius Out of the Bottle. Misdirection, I call it, can be fun. You get people looking at what you want them to look at, not at what they better be seeing. We're looking at the toilet paper in the tree, Lisa. We're not looking down at the ground. And you better, when you see a fresh roll of toilet paper up in a tree, you know where you better look? You better look down. Because you've walked into a minefield.
Absolutely.
Toilet paper don't grow in trees. That's where we're at. That's why I know all of this is real. And then you have to scout the news. You have to scour the news and be able to read some of the indicators to pick up on what's actually happened. Because if you're only going to watch the news and take what the mainstream tells you, you know nothing about any of this. You know nothing about the Federal Reserve. You know nothing about the IMF. You know nothing about the financial problems globally. You know nothing about any of this. All you know about is Trump and Cruz, Hillary and Bernie. That's all you know about.
You know, they
And
are.
that should tell you volumes about what's actually happening. And I just can't believe that if all Americans knew that in the Marine Corps right now, as reported not by me, but by Fox News today, this came on Fox News on a special they did, when you see just how depleted our military is, not just the Marine Corps, but all of the branches, when you see how depleted it is, then you have to ask yourself, well, if Putin finds out how depleted we are, which you know now he knows, what's to stop him from doing anything he wants to do?
I know, because they can attack us because we're absolutely vulnerable. Now, let me ask you this, Larry. Why do you think, and I know I have my opinion too, but for the viewers out there, why do you think they're depleting our army, military, all the branches?
To make sure that the plans they have for this country are accomplished. Look, nobody is planning, to my knowledge, to invade America. Nobody. Not Russia, not China. They're not wanting to invade America. China's worried about America because of how much money it's got tied up in America. It's investment. It's worried about its investment. The only people talking about invading this country is Obama, Hillary, the Republicans with their Muslim refugees. That's all they care about. That's the only invasion facing, not Russia. What Russia is trying to do is it's trying to position itself to see how far it can go in expanding its Russian empire. That's what they want to know. They want to know, can they invade? I'm just going to pick a country, just a crazy one. Let's just say they want to know if they can invade France. Will we do anything? No, we can't. So therefore, what does Russia know? If they want France, all they got to do is go take it.
Right, and I think they want to make us vulnerable to attack on purpose because they want America down. I mean, that's ultimately the global agenda.
Another thing, we have got tankers, oil tankers, full, super tankers, full, stretching at least 25 miles out in the ocean that are stopped flat in the ocean. They cannot go to port. Why? Because we've got too much oil. So they've got all these tankers full of oil from the Middle East, put them out to sea, and then shut them down and tell them just park out there. Now, I was talking with the financial people for Lloyd's of London. They were asking me, what did I see as a threat? I said, well, tell you what I do, boys. For all the vessels you have that are loaded with oil out there in the ocean that are stopped, you better raise the insurance rate. Lloyd's of London insures all those vessels. I said, you better raise your insurance rate. They said, why? I said, because you're looking at nationalized pirating. Pirating. Let me give an example. You've got Iran, thanks to Obama, now they can sell oil in the open market, right? Their oil. Well, now that they can sell oil in the open market, dadgum, they can't sell oil in the open market because the open market's full. It's already got all the oil it needs right now. So don't put it past Iran to go out and form up some of its elite Red Guard, send them out in the ocean, and hijack several of those freighters. Blow them up. That relieves some of the oil, doesn't it?
It would.
Now, remember, guys, we're all worried about the environment. So America, no, we're not going to go out, we're not going to blow up super tankers and spill the oil out in the ocean. We're not going to do that. We're not. Iran will. They don't care. Russia will. They don't care. They don't care about all that. So now, what I was talking to Lords of London, they would have to raise the insurance on these vessels 40%. And if they did, if they raised the insurance premium on all of the maritime fleet 40%, that would actually cover 3 super tankers that could be destroyed. That's all it can cover. 3. Now, what does that mean? Well, they go popping off these super tankers that are stuck out there in the ocean, right? Taking them with pirates, blowing them up. Guess what? Cause the price of oil go up, doesn't it?
Would.
Uh-huh.
Which again plays right into
a country like Iran. Wouldn't that be wonderful news? You stop the glutton, you stop the traffic jam of oil, and you raise the price of oil all at one fatal swoop. Just boom, right there. And then let's not forget what just happened an hour or two ago. Another 7-point+ earthquake hit Fukushima.
Wonderful. Now we're going to get radiated.
Well, I say Fukushima and hit Japan.
Well, you know, I saw a report as you bring that up, and I haven't even seen the report on that quake yet. So that's devastating news. I'm hearing
that's
right
the
now.
Latest one. They've had 3 or 4 in the past couple of days.
Yeah, I know they had a few. That's the biggest one, right? The one that just now.
Just now, yeah.
But and here's the thing. There's reports surfacing that people in Japan aren't doing good. Like some of that stuff is starting to hit at least sections of people in Japan. You know, because they're getting there's some of them there that are getting the brunt of it.
Lisa, I've heard. I don't know. You and I've got a good friend, Jeff Rentz. He studies this with his guests and such about the damage to the fish that the radiation from Fukushima has done. Apparently it is doing damage. Don't you see, we're just set primed for disaster. So where we're at in America, and I'm telling everybody that I know, including your audience, with your permission, folks, when this goes down, you're going to see America in a way you've never seen it before. It's going to go primal. Primal. Anybody that has anything is going to be threatened. People that don't have anything, they're going to starve. They're going to have to fight to try to, get what they can. I can see such a collapse that, believe it or not, I can see whole communities begging Obama and the federal government, please come in. Please come in and bring martial law. Because violence is just getting so much that law enforcement can't take it. If they're coming in, Lisa, if your neighborhood every weekend is being riddled and shot, and kids and innocent people killed in your neighborhoods every week. That's happening around you. When that starts happening, you know what? You will want protection from the federal government.
Right.
You'll
and
beg
then
for it.
and that's the thing. They want us to beg for it. They want it to, they want such chaos. I mean, an economic meltdown will bring that, a break in the, a collapse in the economy. It's going to come with riots. It's going to come with civil uprising. It's going to come with chaos. And I think people know that. I mean, if we've studied this long enough, people out there listening, they know that in order to bring, I guess, some sort of normalcy, people will be crying for the federal government to come in and take control.
Yep.
And that's the sad thing. I mean, there is our freedom handed to them in a handbasket. Here's our freedom. And they really put us in a rock and a hard place where there's not going to be much of a choice. But here's the thing. They caused the problem and they offered a solution.
That's right.
And screwed us, just screwing us
right
over.
In front of us. Did it right in front of us, and they're making us look at this stupid election and not look at what we should be looking.
Well, they have all these meetings.
Why is nobody asking these candidates about the issues I've brought up today? Why? Why is it not being talked about? Why is it not front and center? My God, Lisa, it's not going to matter that much to me, my life. But my grandchildren, my daughter, my kids, our kids, our grandkids, that's what this is about. That's where the blood will be shed. That's where the blood will be shed, y'all. Stand up now. Stand up. Demand that these quote-unquote leaders will never have power again, Lisa. Never again. This is the last election we will have. And you've got congressmen, you've got senators, forget them. But you do have state legislators that you can get to and say, dear God, you see it all going crazy. We can't save the world. I'm worried that we can't even save America, but what we damn well better save is our state and our county and our cities.
Yeah, there ain't much left. I mean, we are at some unsinkable points, I believe, in America that are, I don't know if we'll be able to come back from them until after something happens and it all hits the fan. But in the meantime, I mean, there are areas that I have hope in, and areas that what do you do? We are at that point now. Before you come back, Larry, real quick, we're going to take a quick break from our sponsor, and then we'll come back and you can finish that train of thought. So here is our partner, Get the Tea.
Hey folks, Life Change Tea here, reminding you that colds and flus suck. Feeling lousy sucks, and allergies really can be annoying. What if you could change that? What if you could drink something that changed the sick and tired scenario? Well, you can change how you feel with a little help from Life Change Tea. Life Change Tea is a drink you make, you control, and you drink. There are 8 organic herbs that blend together and give you what you need to fight the flus and colds of this world. Less sickness is more relief. Life Change Tea can help with high blood pressure, constipation, high cholesterol, and much, much more. Just by drinking the tea. Read the numerous testimonies at getthetea.com. If you're tired of feeling lousy, order right now at getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Or you can call us at 928-308-0408. That's 928-308-0408. If you've heard this commercial more than once and someone's trying to tell you something, it's time to get well. Getthetea.com.
So we are back with When Conspiracy Becomes Reality radio broadcast. And again, I have Larry Nichols with me. If you would like to donate to the cause there, you can do that at PayPal via Nichols with an S live at AOL.com. That's Nichols live at AOL.com. Also, quick reminder, Lynn Lees and I are kicking off a brand new website. We want you to check it out, www.freedomnationnews.com. Now, Larry, I kind of, cut you off in your train of thought, but we've got about, 7 minutes left in the broadcast. So what can you say in conclusion to what you were saying a moment ago? And I know to put it in a nutshell, it's all coming to an end, and we're about to hit that big finale. So can you?
Yes, we are. Let me tell you where it all comes down. Folks, you've got to pay attention to programs like Lisa's and others, Alex, Jeff Rentz, others. Don't buy into the crazy stuff, the aliens and the trees. Don't go for that. There is ample enough real stuff. Wake up. Wake up. Fight. And you say, well, how do I fight? You fight by, first off, identify your home. Look around. Is there not something you love so much that you'll fight to protect it? Your kids, your grandkids, your dogs, whatever. And then start working now to get your state representative to understand this is coming unglued. This is coming down. There are things we're going to have control over, and there are things we are not. Now, I would suggest every one of you that can hear my voice, you get hold of Trump's campaign somehow, some way. And you tell Trump to contact me. I don't want, Lisa, any money from Donald Trump. I don't want any recognition from Donald Trump. I don't want a job from Donald Trump. I want nothing. But I do want him to file suit before we have no election process left to file suit over. And start looking around. Look around. The Muslims that are coming in, 80% of them, 80% of them are young men, jihadist age. They're coming here. They are coming here. And they're not coming to assimilate and be a part of the great American experience. They're coming here to create, best case, a caliphate, make us an Islamic caliphate. Worst case, to kill us. Go to your preachers. Go to your preacher. Find out just why. Why a preacher at your church refuses to stand for God, for Jesus Christ. Find out why. The preachers are totally ignoring God's law about sodomy. Preachers are totally ignoring an enemy of Christ, which is Islam. Look, I'm not advocating violence. I'm advocating using your head, though. I'm advocating looking, noticing, being aware, and being active. Being active in your community. Or it don't matter no more. It don't matter. And don't let this election go to waste. Don't. I'm not here to tell y'all Donald Trump is the greatest man that's ever hit the face of the earth. I do not know. But I know this. As much as the establishment hates him and are doing to overtly stop him, then there's obviously something about him that they don't like, which means that's something we probably do like. Yep. And I think we all know what it is. We need our election process back before it's gone. Because when it's gone this time, when our election system is gone this time, Lisa, it's gone forever. You understand that? It's gone forever.
And it won't come back. It won't
come back. This is not the Super Bowl. We'll get them next year. This is not the college BCS playoffs. We'll get them next year. It ain't that. It ain't the NCAA's, whatever that, the basketball Final Four. We'll get them next year. No. This is the end of the greatest nation in the history of the world.
And they've had their tentacles and things, and they've been trying to bring us down. I mean, almost since we were founded. We know that Washington himself revealed the Illuminati in letters that he wrote. He knew about them. And, you know, these globalist organizations that come in and try to take over, they don't want a great America. They want a bondage America, a controlled America, and they can bring that in through causing first chaos, and the chaos will cause the ultimate control that they're looking for. And what is coming is not pretty. And, you know, for us everyday average citizens, for us normal Joes living out, you know, on planet Earth here, there is an agenda, and there is an elite ruling class, and they are doing everything they can to push it in. And anyone that gets in their way, in this case right now, that's Donald Trump. You know, we don't know everything about him, but obviously they don't want him up there. And for that reason, one of my main reasons for going with him, if they don't want him, I want him. You know, like you said earlier. And I think that's something really huge that, you know, we need to keep in the back of our minds. And, you know, all the corruption that's happening, it's all coming to an end. The economy, the Islam, the ISIS extremism that they're allowing into our country, and obviously they're with the CIA and all of that. That's a whole nother topic. But
and I don't remember, but this brings to mind Neville Chamberlain. There was a time when he met with Hitler, and he came back. And even though there were people like Winston Churchill and others that actually saw what was going on, he was so blinded by his agenda and what he wanted. He went and met with Hitler, came back, got off the plane. When he got off the plane, he told the people of England,